Hello, I'm Mark McCulley, and welcome to another day of our journey towards Christmas in Advent. How would you like to live in a really small village where everybody knew everything about you? They'd known your parents and grandparents and everybody else, and they know your secrets, especially if the one big secret you have is getting bigger and bigger by the day. That was the thing that Mary was experiencing, the judgment of other people, the condemning of other people for her being pregnant before she got married to Joseph. And as I've explained, in those days and times and in that culture, that was a much greater shame than it is today. And so Mary was more or less an outcast in her own village. Maybe that's why she ran away for 6 months to visit her cousin Elizabeth, so that people wouldn't be watching her day by day as her stomach started to grow and she started to show her pregnancy. But when she came back from that time, here she is 6 months pregnant, and her family has to try to accept what has happened to her, and her village is looking at her askance. And we don't even know what sort of effect this had on her family, because after all, this was a small town. They all bought and sold from each other in various trades, and that's how they made their living. And maybe they even had friction with other neighbors that didn't want to do business with them anymore because of Mary's situation. And we've talked a little bit about Joseph already, how that's affected him. So Mary didn't have any secrets anymore after that. And even though she knew why she was pregnant, and she was for certain aware of what had happened, nobody else seems to be. And so it may well be that she had to endure a lot of scorn and suffering and even feeling guilt and shame because of the effect that it had on her family and on Joseph during her pregnancy. But of course, it all came out really well, didn't it? Jesus was born and wonderful things happened after that. But even Jesus probably had to put up with snide comments and gossip from their neighbors when he was a boy. As he was growing up, that people would, kind of mutter behind their hand at each other. Well, there goes that boy. You know, I wonder who his father really is, they would say. And so Jesus had to put up with that kind of scorn himself. And it even followed him into his ministry as he was out preaching to people and doing good. There were others saying, oh, well, he's not really who he says he is. So, yeah, living with that kind of hurt all the time, wouldn't that be tough? What about you and me? We might have things about our own selves and our own lives and our own history and background that we don't want others to know. We might have secrets that we don't want other people gossiping about. And so we don't talk about the things that hurt and the things that are wrong and the things we've done wrong, because we don't want others judging us and rejecting us for what we've done. And that's the way life is sometimes. That is how other people treat us and how we sometimes, let's admit it, look at other people. But I've got some good news for you. All those things you don't want to talk to God about or are afraid that maybe God knows, he already knows all of them. God knows my secrets and he knows yours. And you know what? Here's the good news. He loves you and me, even with all of our secrets. You see, there's nothing we have to hide from God because he already knows. This is the kind of God who sent his son into the world, and his son came willingly to live with us, to learn what it was like to be human and weak, and yet overcome all of it, and to have all of our sins and our anger and our guilt and our everything else piled on him on the cross. And he died from all of our evil and anger in order to take it away. We don't have any secrets from the God who created the universe. He knows it all, and he loves us. And he sent Jesus to show us that he loves us. He accepts us. He folds us into his arms with all of our lumps and bruises and warts and blemishes and everything that we want to keep secret from him. And he smooths it over and begins to heal it with his own self and his own heart that he gives to us. His love for us is unbounded. And that's the good news for today. M is for mercy. I'm Mark McCulley. Thanks for watching. If this is a blessing to you, please pass it on to somebody else because it may be a bigger one for them. Have a blessed day.